Welcome, Ever Onward Tribe. You don't have to say a lot to say a lot. When I took over my first executive job in the military, I ran one of our advanced training commands, or I was one of the senior leadership in our advanced training command. So that's all the kind of finish or polish school for SEALs. Communication, dive school, sniper school, hand-to-hand fighting, all these different skill sets you need to have when you actually get to the team. They're under the umbrella of this command. When you take over a new position, particularly as an officer or a senior enlisted at a command, whoever you relieve, that means the person that had the job before you, the folks in kind of IT or an admin will actually transfer their email inbox to you. You don't do it to spy on them or because you need something from them, but they have, it's almost like the continuation of all the things that they are working on. If you need to access that information so you can pull that and figure out what's going on with a significant issue or something you need a little more information on, it's there for you to do that. So one of the events we ran was sniper school. It doesn't actually matter what the course was, but I remember we were talking about an issue, something that needed to be solved. I'm now in the job where it needs to get solved, or I'm going to make that happen. And I remember looking at this email chain, and as I started scrolling down, it's just a reply all from all the different stakeholders that were involved in it. As I start running down this email chain, it takes me like 15 minutes to scroll down. I end up scrolling back up and copy and pasted it into a Word document. It was something like 80,000 words had been used to talk about this singular issue that I felt like we could have knocked out in a very short time. So I wrote a reply all to everybody, and I said, Abraham Lincoln wrote the Gettysburg Address with 272 words. That's all it took him to write that incredible speech. I'm looking at 80,000. I think we can do better. And so everybody kind of got it and said, yeah, we've been kicking this can down the road. And we got in and we solved that problem. My point is, you can say quite a bit with very little, and it's efficient, it can be more elegant, and it's something you should aspire to do. If you can say more with less, do it. Here's the best part of this story that I read recently. I love to read. I love, a lot of the great authors and then certain authors that speak to me. But unquestionably, Hemingway is one of the all-time greats. I don't think that's in question. But I heard this unbelievable story. I was overseas in Venice. There's a bar in Venice where Hemingway used to frequent. That bar is one of his favorite places. I ended up in that bar kind of restaurant, and they said, hey, this is Hemingway's bar. Pretty cool to have that history for somebody that loves literature. But I heard a story about Hemingway that blew my mind, talking about brevity, and he was one of the great writers. I mean, you read Old Man and the Sea, there is not an extra word or one wasted in that entire book. But here's the story to kind of highlight this point. Hemingway is with a bunch of his writing buddies, and all of them have been drinking, and they're at the bar, and they're kind of giving each other a hard time about writing and their abilities. And somehow the subject comes up of how many words, pages, how long does a story need to be to make an impact? How long does something need to be? And, it starts off at 100 pages. Oh, no. It can get down to 50, 20, 60, 40, 10 pages, and everybody's going back and forth, and they're all fighting, but it sits somewhere in double digits of pages. That's what it would take to write a powerful, fully fleshed out story that could have an impact and tell an entire tale. And Hemingway says, nah, I can do better than that. And they're like, I don't think so. He's like, well, I can do it in 6. And they're like, I don't know, 6 pages is pretty lean. He's like, not 6 pages. And they said, what are you talking about? He says, I can do it in 6 words. And they're like, that's impossible. It couldn't be done. He's like, well, I'll bet all of you, all your money against my money, as the story goes, that I can write a fully fleshed out, impactful, and gut-wrenching story in 6 words. So all of them kind of, get together, they pile up their, drinking money, put it on the table, and they're like, you're on, let's do it. As the story goes, Hemingway turns onto a cocktail napkin, writes something down, hands it over to the guys. They look at it. The bet is won. It is a done deal. And to hit you with how true this is what Hemingway wrote. For sale, baby shoes, never worn. You don't have to say a lot to say a lot. Ever onward.